Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
I think that there's a renewed push to build a monument honoring a black man lynched in Grand Forks. The city council approved the project more than 20 years ago, but it fell by the wayside. Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero tells us why there's so much support to remember the city's dark history.
There's a famous song by Billie Holiday with the opening line, "Southern trees bear strange fruit." The song shined a light to the thousands of black people lynched, but the South was no exception. Grand Forks is coming to grips with its own past.
Nothing that we do will undo the heinous act that occurred to him, but I think acknowledging it as a community in and of itself is a really good step towards healing.
Mara Ferguson says she first learned of Charles Thurber 5 years ago. This is a historical photo of him being hanged off the Great Northern Railroad Bridge in 1882 without due process.
As a white family, we have the privilege of choosing when we tell our children about these incidents and about racism in general. That's not a privilege that's afforded to Black and Indigenous people of color.
Historical records show Thurber was the first person who was hanged in North Dakota. At the time, the state was still considered a territory. The Grand Forks City Council approved the memorial for Thurber in 1997, but then the Great Flood happened and the funds dried up. Ferguson was able to raise more than $3,000 in 22 hours with a GoFundMe.
The more we talk about it and the more we normalize talking about it with our kids, the more hope we have for a more equitable future.
Thurber was accused by 2 white women of attempted rape. Within 16 hours of the accusation, he was lynched. Both women later confessed to lying about the incidents, according to state records. Thurber was buried in an unmarked grave, and records show he had no mourners. In Grand Forks, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
Mara Ferguson says once a memorial for Charles Thurber is built, she plans to hold a community memorial service, something he didn't get when he was lynched. A 72-year-old West Fargo man is sentenced to 5 months in prison after making a false statement while purchasing a gun. Officials say 72-year-old Robert Johnson pled guilty today. He's also been sentenced to 1 year of supervised release and will have to pay $100 for a crime victims fund. Officials say Johnson is a convicted felon who cannot lawfully possess a gun. Day 1 of the work week was good from a weather standpoint, so relaxing at home tonight should be enjoyable. Let's get the latest from Hutch, who is here with a first look at your Monday night weather planner.
Indeed, we have a few clouds passing overhead here in the valley, and all in all, most of us are staying dry. But as we take a look at the radar, a few in our northern counties seeing some showers. Most of this is north of Highway 2. They're drifting from north to south across the region. Most of you will stay dry, but brief heavy showers passing through the area tonight. Temperatures in the 60s northwest Minnesota, low 70s down to the south. Here's your Fargo area planner for tonight. More clouds than clear skies. Temperatures in the 70s until we get through the 8 o'clock hour. Then we'll start to see things cool off just a bit. I think those clouds will be a part of our forecast in Fargo tonight, but I think we hold off on the sprinkles. There will be a chance of some sprinkles in the 60s tonight in Grand Forks. And as we head into Tuesday, I'll have some details on what you can expect. It looks like more rain in the forecast, but some warm weather returning as well. All those details in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Hutch. The search still continues for a driver who slammed into another vehicle and then ran off. It happened at the intersection of 16th Street and 9th Avenue South in Fargo around 1 this morning. Police say the first driver was speeding down 16th Street and ran a stop sign, then crashed into a second car. When authorities arrived, they had to save the second driver from their vehicle. The driver of the first vehicle wasn't on scene. One man sits in jail accused of stealing a car and then that crashed and wound up on fire. The crash also sent another person to the hospital. It happened this morning in the 1000 block of 32nd Avenue South in Moorhead just before 5. When police arrived on scene, this red car was on fire. Authorities say before the fire, it crashed into 2 nearby trees. Police say the suspect in the car theft is 27-year-old Sebastian Tahirovich of Fargo. He's being held on possession of stolen property. We're learning more about why 8 corrections officers have filed a discrimination lawsuit against Ramsey County. The officers work at the Adult Detention Center. The group's attorney says Superintendent Steve Leiden issued an order that no officers of color could work on the floor where former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was to be held. Chauvin is charged with murder in George Floyd's death. The group's attorney claims officers were reassigned away from Chauvin, including one who was in the middle of booking Chauvin.
The employees affected by the order were hurt and upset that the jail leadership did not trust them because of their skin color. Trust is critical to maintaining safety in that dangerous and intense jail environment.
The group's attorney says her clients are humiliated and this situation is continuing to affect their time at their workplace. Ramsey County authorities are reviewing the matter to determine if additional action is necessary. North Dakota has confirmed 25 new cases of COVID-19 across the state. This brings active cases in the state to 284. Cass County is reporting 5 new cases. Burley and Grand Forks are each reporting 4 new cases. There have been no new deaths, keeping the death toll at 77. In Minnesota, the state is reporting 308 new cases, with 4 more deaths linked to the virus in the state. This brings Minnesota's death toll to 1,384. Of those deaths, 1,095 happened in a long-term care facility. 308 new cases are reported in the state, bringing the active case count to 2,778. 29,065 people are listed as recovered. John Bolton, the former national security advisor whose tell-all book From Inside the Trump White House hits shelves tomorrow, says he's speaking out now in part to prevent President Donald Trump from winning a second term. Laura Podesta has more on what else Bolton was alleging during a TV interview last night promoting the book's launch.
Former National Security Advisor John Bolton says he doesn't think President Trump is fit for office. Bolton, whose new book, The Room Where It Happened, is out tomorrow, spoke with ABC News in an interview that aired last night.
I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. There really isn't any guiding principle that I was able to discern other than what's good for Donald Trump's reelection.
Bolton alleges high-profile meetings with North Korea's Kim Jong-un were for photo opportunities rather than diplomacy. He also claims the president has a lack of awareness for world geography.
You say in the book that Trump asked General John Kelly if Finland was part of Russia.
He said those things, absolutely.
Bolton also insists the president linked military aid to investigations into his political opponent, the issue at the heart of the impeachment inquiry. That has politicians on both sides of the aisle questioning the timing of Bolton's assertions.
If John Bolton had really wanted to get this information out for reasons other than his own personal profit, he should have come and testify before the House or the Senate.
The Trump campaign released a statement in response to the interview saying in part that Bolton, quote, is disgracefully ending his career by putting his own selfish financial interests through lies and debunked nonsense over the interests of the country. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The Trump administration asked a federal judge to halt publication of Bolton's tell-all memoir, but that request was denied. The FBI and Department of Justice are investigating a noose found in the garage of Black NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace. The noose found yesterday in Wallace's garage at Alabama's Talladega Superspeedway. Wallace is the Cup Series' only black driver. Authorities are investigating to determine whether federal laws were violated. NASCAR recently banned the Confederate flag from its events, prompting criticism from some race fans. A familiar face on the Food Network was spotted earlier in Moorhead. Guy Fieri was filming at Soul Ave Kitchen in Moorhead. A Facebook post from the police said that they provided traffic control for Fieri's crew. Fieri's hosts several food-related shows like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and as well as Guy's Grocery Games. Still ahead tonight, the latest in Atlanta, where services are being held for a black man shot dead in a confrontation with 2 police officers 10 days ago.
A cool start to the work week. Temperatures near 70 for many of us. A few passing showers as well. Your hour-by-hour forecast for the remainder of our work week is coming up right after this.